have had all these things taken away, but God has been with us every step of the way. And I do believe this is a time that God has given us to delve deeper into His Word and to understand that our hope and our trust can only be in Him. We can't trust in man, we can't trust in the devices that man has made, but we can trust in everything that God has made. And He said, He'll never leave us, He'll never forsake us. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. So to me, it's a time to just delve in and get a foundational relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I absolutely concur. I think we as Americans are so used to feeling safe and secure for the most part. Um, and when you look at Christianity over history, over 2,000 years, or when you look at Christians in other countries, most other countries, in fact, they don't feel safe and secure all the time.
That's true.
And so we're kind of faced with the COVID-19 crisis of what other people have tasted. Many other crises, hurricanes or wars, or disease or persecution from communism or persecution from other religious groups or other forces. And so to us, this is really big because we're not used to this kind of thing in America. But to other people, it's probably not as major because persecution and suffering has been just in their DNA for a very long time. And so I do think it is kind of giving us an understanding of this. It is helping us to understand that you do have to have your own walk with God, your own experience with God, and perhaps it is preparing us for worse things to come. And those worse things might not be a coronavirus, they might be something else.
Right.
But there could be other things, and so we will be better equipped and better prepared as Christians to deal with them when they come. And I just also think this is helping the church to wake up and realize the church needs to be the church.
Amen.
We need to be a spiritual force, a force where people can be introduced to the supernatural presence and power of God and truth. And as much as social programs are great and all of the other things that the church is an institution, I mean, throughout the years, churches have helped in healthcare, they've helped feed the hungry, they've helped with orphans and widows, and churches have done so much. And yet, the primary purpose of the church, the fundamental purpose, is spiritual in nature.
Right.
And that's the one thing that we can do that nobody else is doing, are spiritual things. And I think this is when the church needs to rise up and really be the church and minister to people in a spiritual way. And we Pentecostals are very well positioned for this because we believe in the supernatural power of God. We believe in deliverance. We believe in healing. We believe in intercessory prayer and the power of God. And so I think that it gives us a great opportunity to be able to reach out. And so I think it's a time to draw closer personally to the Lord, to prepare for the future, but also to take this opportunity to minister to others.
Right. So a couple of questions that were kind of asked, and then I'm going to ask you to expound on them a little bit. We talked about how we as a church need to keep the momentum that we have going currently and not go back to the way things were, but take what's happened and what we've learned and build on that when things go back to normal. So what would the new normal be? What are we going to do as restrictions are lifted? Are we going to gradually come back to church? Are we going to start introducing small groups as we begin? Do you have a vision or a thought process for that?
I'm not sure at this point. I really do not know what new normal is going to look like, to be honest. I think we're just going to have to see how this thing plays out, and at each stage of the game, take advantage of what's happening at that level, and not feel like, oh, well, we just have to have everything on hold until it's all just the way it was 6 months ago. But I think each stage we have to say, okay. For example, we did the live streaming, and but then we went to parking lot services,
Right.
and so that parking lot services is a different stage. It's a
Right.
different level.
Right.
But I think at each level there's going to be some unique opportunity that presents itself to us. But when that's going to happen, how quickly it's going to happen, how soon it's going to happen, I really don't know. I just know as we move in that direction, at each place, we should see what's God doing now, what's God doing here, what's the opportunity presented at this point. And I think we also need to have some confidence in our political leadership. Iowa is very fortunate to have a wonderful governor, and so I think our political leaders are, for the most part, doing the best they can under the circumstances. And so I think we need to show support to them. There is so much divisiveness in our country that's largely fed by the media. The media
Right.
loves divisiveness,
Right.
and I think that we should swim upstream against that divisiveness and be supportive of our civil leadership.
For sure, for sure. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up tonight. We've been going for a little while now, and it's been fun, and we may be able to do this in the future again, so keep thinking of questions that to ask when we do this again. But a couple last questions. First, is the sword behind you real? Is it a real sword?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a real sword. Yeah, I've never used it as a sword. It's very heavy. And every child that comes in here wants to get it down and do something with it. But yeah, it's a real sword. Yeah.
It's a real sword. Okay, so know that when you come for counseling. No, I'm just
Especially marital counseling. Sometimes I put it away before marital counseling, just to be on the safe side.
kidding. All right, so another fun question before we wrap this up. So, how long have you guys been married, first off?
33? 30,
1986.
33 and a...
33.
Yeah, I think 33.
Yeah. Yeah, the age that
It'll be-
Jesus was when he was crucified. 33 and a half years. So.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so a question that came in for the two of you, and you can answer this or you cannot. So, in 33 years of marriage, what is your least favorite quality about each other? And what is your favorite? Or maybe we shouldn't answer the least favorite. Maybe we shouldn't do the least. We can just talk about what's your favorite quality about one another.
Oh.
So many.
Well,
He's
first
trying
of all, thinking 33 years of marriage, and we've been in Des Moines 20 years.
Yeah.
That means that 20 of those 33 years have been right here at Calvary and right here in Des Moines. Only 13 years of them prior to coming here. So I'd never really thought about that. Wow.
It's there's no way we can put it down. I can't to just
Look
one
at
thing.
that.
I mean, like since Brother Decker's been back home, he doesn't go to school every day. I don't know how many times I've gotten up or whatever, and he's gotten up early or he stayed up late. I'm not sure which. And my kitchen would be clean. I'm like, and I've always said it's the little things. I'll hear the vacuum cleaner running or.
Lemon blueberry cake.
Yeah, lemon. He did make a lemon blueberry cake. Last night. We won't talk about that.
That's what that was.
But yeah. a lot.
My wife, one thing, she doesn't give up on people. They sang a song Sunday, he never stops working. Well, that's kind of like her. There's times with people, I'll have to be honest, where I just say, hey, fine, let them do whatever they want to do. But she doesn't give up on people. And I'm quite honest, there's people that she just keeps praying for and she keeps going after, and I've just moved on. I'm just done with it. But I think that's a tremendous asset. And she loves our family, our grandchildren, our children so much. Our family are just our passion for both of us, really. But she would do anything for our children, anything for our grandchildren, and I think that's a beautiful thing as well. And And that's a wonderful thing. And when it comes to ministry, she's the one that just keeps pushing. What can we do this week? Well, let's take a week off. Let's have a week where we were talking about the devotions about 2 weeks ago, and I said, well, maybe we need to take a week off of the daily devotions. You know, we're doing this every day. No, what are we going to do next week? What are we going to do the week after that? So she's always thinking about those kind of things from the ministry side. What do we need to do next?
Very good.
Have you called people? Have you checked in on the sick? Have you checked in on our elders? She kind of keeps me motivated.
She's the cattle prod.
Yes, that's the sword there. This motivator. Yeah.
All right. So one final question. The scripture talks about.
But Nate, we have a lot of fun too. So
Yes, you do.
we've been to England 3 times, and we love to go to England. We could be British pretty easily. We learn the language, and we love to travel, and we know how to have fun and do fun things together.
I would say you guys are very adventurous for sure. For sure. Yeah, I think you guys could live in England probably pretty easily.
It was the Queen's birthday yesterday, by the way.
Did not know that.
94.
Wow, 94 years. Wow. Yes, you guys could be British. So that would be another place we'd want to live, probably other than Des Moines would be England. That would be it.
Scotland, yeah.
Scotland. So somewhere over there.
Yeah, Scotland was wonderful.
Yeah, my ancestors are from Scotland.
Very cool. All right, so last question. This has to do with the church, and then we'll wrap this up. The scriptures talks about feed my sheep. And so what does Calvary do to reach into the community beyond just the spiritual needs? And if someone needs help, what can they do to reach out to us? What does Calvary do to fulfill that scripture?
I can start. I think our first priority with everybody is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are other institutions that look at social needs. And sometimes we can get so caught up on social needs that spiritual needs are not met. And DHS isn't doing spiritual things.
Right.
The local law enforcement isn't doing spiritual things.
Right.
The local hospitals. And so the first thing, the thing that the church's primary responsibility is spiritual. Now, having said that, there are other needs that people have that are social in nature that we have to understand, and we've got to reach out and try to do what we can or connect them to the right people or the right resources, and we want to do that. Obviously, if someone's hungry or they need clothes or they need transportation, or if we can't help them, we want to connect them to somebody that can.
Yeah.
And the church as a body in the community, we want to do all of those things. But we never want to do that at the expense that is our first priority, and then the spiritual things are somehow take a back seat.
Right.
The spiritual is the first and foremost priority of the church, period, and everything else supports that or it is just surrounds that.
Right.
We just recently brought governor baskets to Governor Reynolds and Lieutenant Governor Gregg and to their staff, thanking them for all the work that they're doing with us that the state of Iowa and the United States are in. And we brought those baskets as an appreciation to them, wonderful yellow baskets with all